Listen, dog, the Colts ain't special.
Better than the Panthers.
I mean, they're practically the same team.
No, they're not.
Okay, so what? Y'all
close.
You know how I knew y'all were going to lose in the first round?
How?
Because when I realized Phillip Rivers was starting.
Yeah, we almost beat the damn Bills.
I was cheering for y'all too. It ain't happening, dog.
Man, you guys aren't even going to.
Phillip Rivers doesn't win playoff games.
You guys aren't even going to have single-digit losses. You guys are going to have double-digit losses again.
Dude, we're not that bad.
Why? Because you got Sam Darnold?
You do realize out of all the games that we lost, we lost like 6 of them by 1 possession. And guess what? About 4 of those, we had the ball.
You know what the team also did?
Teddy Bridgewater. Anyways.
You know who else did it? The Falcons.
Anyways, welcome into NASCAR by the nonsense. We're already having nonsense because we're talking NFL. Forget NASCAR. We're going straight to the NFL.
You see his hat? You see his hat up there? Their team gonna suck this year, and I'm getting a free personal dirt ticket.
This is coming from a Colts fan. All right, mind you.
Yeah, Colts are gonna win our division. We got double-digit wins. Y'all got double-digit losses.
That's rough. Anyways, so what's going on this weekend? This past weekend. Hell, where Sonoma? The surprise they were even on the schedule. I remember I put at the beginning of the year Sonoma would be knocked off the schedule, so that's wrong prediction. Along with Kyle Larson not winning, he really knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone, didn't he? I mean, besides he'd already won, but like not only Sonoma on the schedule, but Kyle Larson winning.
You look like a dumbass.
I would look like a dumbass when I made the prediction, but it is what it is. We're all having fun. But this weekend, we can have a little fun with this. This weekend is about to be trash. All right, All-Star Race, Texas. We have talked about this. I know my thoughts on this. Did we talk about it all last week?
I don't think so. The only thing I remember us talking about was you talking about damn strippers.
So speaking of taking the clothes off, what do you think about the All-Star Race at Texas taking place on, for whatever reason, a Sunday night this week?
I work that day. That's going to be the first time and probably the only time all season I don't give a shit if I miss a race.
I'm with you. This is a terrible idea. We have said it's been a terrible idea. Even if they had a week off before and a week off after, this is a terrible idea. Texas is arguably the worst racetrack on the schedule. Ruined by the great Eddie Gossage, who, thank God, this is his last race weekend. Ruined by him, ruined by a package, more so by him, and just a terrible racetrack. I mean, we all don't always like 1.5 miles, but especially Texas. I'd rather race at Kansas 3 times than go to freaking Texas. But they decided to move the All-Star Race to Texas because we're Texas. We have to have 2 dates. Come on, NASCAR. We have to have 2 dates. Don't go to Charlotte, which is logistically makes sense because everyone gets to be home. We'll go to Bristol, which most people at least somewhat were entertained by last year. We're going to go to Texas. We're going to send all of our cars out to California, then send them all the way back to North Carolina, then send them all the way out to Texas, then send them all the way back to North Carolina, then send them back to Nashville. All right. There's going to be cars that drive all the way to Texas to run about 50 laps, pack up their truck, and go home with no money. Like, they'll make 20 grand, whatever, I'm sure they make a little bit of money just for being in the race. You know how NASCAR works with purses and stuff through the field. But, I mean, the best, smartest guy out here right now in the group of people is JTG Doherty and Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece gets to sit at his house this weekend and do nothing. And he is winning this whole – he is the all-star. I mean, he is the NASCAR all-star for not having to go all the way to Texas to run a half-ass race that has no value on the season and then just gets to sit at home and laugh. Man, this isn't even talking about the format where I think at one point I think they start the race and then I think they fly in like a loop-de-loop they put on the back stretch at one point. And then I think at one point they're running backwards. And then I think at another point they're going to drive through the streets of Fort Worth, but then they invert the field. And then they're going to do one stage where they run around backwards. And then there's one where you have to make a 6-tire pit stop. You can determine how you do that. All right. And at one point it's a race to the garage. And then you get out of there, you foot race all the way to the the fan parking and find your vehicle. Then you bring it onto the racetrack. Then you invert the field there, but only a maximum of 12 cars. And then you go again, and then you get back in your race car and finish the race. I think that's the format. That would probably be more understandable than what the format actually is. But yeah, have you read the format?
Kyle Larson will still finish second.
Kyle Larson. Now I'm done. Kyle Larson will probably win the damn thing. All right, Kyle Larson will probably win the All-Star race. Don't get me wrong, inverts and stuff are cool, but like, what are we doing? I think there's 6 stages. I think there's like 3 inverts. Then there's the average finish round, and you know what's funny about this invert though? You know what's really hilarious is the invert comes in a package that you can't pass in.
Honestly.
And they're giving them less horsepower. They have 510 horsepower this weekend. They pretty much have the super speedway package on these cars at Texas.
And super speedway like 450.
Hell, I don't know. All I know is it's less than 550. I can do simple math. 510 is less than 550. All right.
Really?
I know that's less. All right.
That math is going to be better than your math later tonight.
On the track this weekend, and it is good. I might watch just to see how embarrassing it is. Like thankfully, I've changed my workout schedule to I've been doing Tuesday, Wednesday, then Friday, Saturday, which this Saturday is going to be a little rough, but we're going to try to squeak one in. Anyways, so Monday, I can kind of stay up a little bit later Sunday night because I don't have to get up super early on Monday. But, God, this is going to be terrible. Like, I just think we're in for a snooze fest of an all-star race. And I'm all for it. Like, I fully plan on having Twitter loaded up and just going off because seems horrendous an idea. And, that's not what we came here to talk about tonight, but I just really wanted to get that off my chest. I think we're in for a snoozer. Maybe I'll go to bed early that night. I'm
not going to watch. I'm more hyped for the SRX debut.
The SRX debut Saturday. I'll be at Cherokee Speedway. The only cool thing coming out of the All-Star is the $100,000 to the pit crew. And knowing Fox, they'll probably forget to say anything about it. So that's the coolest part. The fastest pit crew in a certain segment gets $100,000. That part is cool. Well, let's get to what we were here to talk about before I get too negative and run off all the people. And that is the NASCAR playoff grid and our predictions for drivers that we think will make the playoffs and how many playoff points that they will have. So first things first, I kind of want to talk about before we get into like numbers and all that kind of stuff. My first question is, did you have any drivers, do you have anybody falling in or jumping in, falling out, the original 16 that is listed? Do you have any kind of changes in the 16 drivers that would make the postseason right now?
If you watched me throughout this entire season, you already know that for me to have one driver, which I've been saying this entire season is going to make the playoffs, I have to kick someone out. So, yes, I do.
All right, I got you.
Mine
is exactly the same. I think the 16 that are in right now are going to be the 16 that stay in. I don't see anybody below the cut right now that impresses me enough. There are people that I think can. Mainly Matt DiBenedetto. He's probably the only person that really has a shot, in my opinion, unless someone like a Bubba Wallace wins Daytona in the last week or Stenhouse or something like that. But I just don't see it with the guys that I'm looking at that are really around that cut, that these guys are going to have to beat in points. I just think those guys are better right now. I think they're going to be better for the next month or so. And I just don't see even a guy like DiBenedetto being able to jump them to kind of, cause any kind of change. So pretty much, I guess we can kind of roll into it. The first thing before, again, we get the numbers is I want to know, how did you kind of design your bracket? Well, what was your process? How did you lay it all out before we actually talked?
I did it. So I first calculated everyone's playoff points, even those who aren't even the top 16, so like Bubba Wallace, Matt DiBenedetto. So I took all that, added those up. Then I took the remaining races left, and obviously those are 5 playoff points, so I added those to each driver. Which, by the way, I have certain drivers, a certain amount of playoff points. It's probably not going to coincide with whoever we pick throughout the rest of the season. So let's say, for example, I say like William Byron wins like 3 more races. He got like 3 more races worth of playoff points. I might not pick William Byron 3 times this year. So just that as a disclaimer. And then I counted the stage wins also. Then I accounted for where they finished in the regular season.
All right. The way I did mine is I went to NASCAR.com. I laid out what they look like now. Now, obviously, NASCAR has them right now listed with the amount of playoff points they would get if the regular season ended now. So right now, Denny Hamlin would get the extra 15 for being the regular season champion. I don't necessarily think that happens. So what I did is I just wrote it all out that way just so I kind of knew where everybody sat. Then I kind of determined, okay, who do I think is going to win? Who's going to be second? Where I already know, and I told you this, where I know I'm going to make a mistake because I didn't think about it in the process, is 3rd through 10th on regular season points at the end. I didn't think those. So most of mine are going to be a couple of points off. Now, obviously, that may divvy out with stage points. But what I did is I also kind of, again, I'm like you. I don't know if these will be my actual predictions to finish out the season. But I kind of wrote out. I did fake. I kind of did picks for the rest of the year. Like who's going to win the rest of the regular season races, the final 10 races. Just kind of threw out a name. So I added those, and then I said, okay, there's 20 stages left, in the regular season. I divvied up those 20. This guy's going to win this many. This
exactly.
That's
exactly what I did.
So I did that, and then I tried my first, second, and I don't think I got to third, but my first and second, I know for sure. I calculated their first and second regular season bonus for finishing first or second in the regular season. So that's how I divvied mine up, and then obviously I got them all separated out. So the way I want to do this is because I think it's going to be kind of a little too quick. It's probably going to be a quick show tonight, but a little too quick and boring if we just say, all right, here's our 16, here's what we got. So I figured the best way to do it is we'll kind of do it in chunks of 4. So who is your bottom 4 making it in and how many playoff points? So obviously, if people don't remember, everyone starts out with 2,000 points. Anything above 2,000 are your playoff points. So if you scored 26 playoff points, you would have 2,026 playoff points to start the postseason. So, Armani, we'll start with you. Who are your bottom 4, and what kind of point total are they looking at?
My bottom 4, I'll go through 16 through 13. Coming in at 16th, I got Tyler Reddick with 0 playoff points, so he'll be at 2,000. I think he's going to stay where he's at in the playoffs. We talked about it earlier. A couple episodes ago, dude's had a great comeback after being like 28th in points after like 3 races, and now he's inside the top 15 in points. I think he's going to stay there. Coming in at 15th, this is teammate Austin Dillon. I think, again, it's 2,000 playoff points. I just don't think RCR is going to win a stage, but I do think they're consistent enough to make it in. Coming in at number 14 is the only SHR driver I got in the playoffs, and that is Kevin Harvick. I got him with 2,001 playoff points. I don't think he's won a stage yet this year. I think he will grab a stage win, probably one of the Pocono races, but I don't see him getting a dub in the regular season. I still think that team has a lot to do. And coming in at number 13, shout out to my boy Johnny on the track. He knows what's coming up. Trackhouse racer Daniel Suarez is going to make the playoffs. I predicted it earlier in the year. I'm sticking by my prediction.
How? Are they going to win?
They almost won Dirt Bristol.
It's their only shot. Do you have them winning a race? What race do you have them winning?
Same thing I have.
We need the facts, man.
I have
to win.
Listen. I have four more.
Tell me right now what race they're going to win, because that's the only way they're going to make it is by winning.
Either one of the Pocono races or not July Daytona, the season finale Daytona.
What on God's green earth makes you think Daniel Suarez is going to win at Pocono?
Because that's his best track.
Well, we can clearly see that you're delusional. All right, give your bottom 4 again real quick with point total.
All right, my bottom 4, Tyler Reddick at 16, 2,000. 15, Austin Dillon, 2,000. Kevin Harvick, 14, 2001. And 13, Daniel Suarez, 2005. All
right, cool. My bottom 4, we both have the same 15 and 16. I have Reddick coming in at 16, flat 2,000. Austin Dillon at 15, flat 2,000. This is when we start the very 14th. I have Chris Buescher. I think he already has 1 playoff point. I think he'll keep that 1 playoff point to 2001. And then Michael McDowell, obviously, if he did not have the Daytona 500 win, he would not be in the postseason. So that's what really
he would. He's 16th.
He would have been 16th. Right. He would have been just a couple of – I think he steals like 15 or so points ahead of Benedetto.
He's like 20-some points ahead of Benedetto.
But, most likely the Benedetto would end up catching him, if I had to guess. So McDowell, I think he only keeps those 5 playoff points, though. I don't think he really he's not going to win a stage, win another race. So he's at 2005. So McDowell, Buescher, Dillon, and Reddick are my bottom 4. Who is your first? I guess we'll call them the first because there's really 8 in the middle. So your semi-bottom 4, however you want to call it.
Number 12, you just mentioned him, Michael McDowell. I got him at 2005. So he's tied with Suarez. So McDowell and Suarez are tied together. Coming in number 11, I got Christopher Bell again. So there's a three-way tie for those final two playoff spots. I guess I should reiterate: Reddick is -5, Dillon's -5, Harvick is -4, and Suarez, McDowell, and Bell are tied. But because Suarez will be lower in points than McDowell and Bell, that's why he's 13th. So Bell, I got a 2005. Again, he's tied with McDowell. Coming in at number 10, I got Brad Keselowski with 2007 playoff points, so he'd only be 2 points above the cut. And coming in at number 9, I got Alex Bowman with 2013 playoff points. He'd be +8 above the cut.
All right. Actually, I need to pull this list off so I can compare where they are at in case they have changed. So my next four, at 12, I have Christopher Bell at 2005. He is tied with Michael McDowell. I just don't see – Bell has the potential to maybe sneak up and win a stage. I just don't have it happening. And I think really, kind of surprising is me and you, I think, have the same theory on Keselowski. I think Keselowski stays the same. I don't think he wins another race or a stage in the regular season. He's probably the scariest guy because, he's the kind of guy that he could crash 6 weeks in a row and win the 7th race. So I'll be honest, I will not be surprised if he wins the race before the regular season. I just don't have him winning a race. I feel like they've been struggling lately, but it would not surprise me that he throws a complete wrench in all of our predictions and wins a stage or wins a race or something like that. But I also have him at 2007. Another difference we have is Kevin Harvick. I think Kevin Harvick wins. I think he wins at New Hampshire, a place where it's a little bit more driver than it's speed. I don't think Hendrick's necessarily just going to dominate New Hampshire because it's not really a horsepower, downforce, driven facility. So that's where I have Harvick winning. It's just hard to believe he's not going to win at some point this year. And so I have Harvick at 2008. I believe I have him winning a race, and I think I have him winning one stage. And obviously, I think all that happens at New Hampshire. So Kevin Harvick at 2008. And then Willie B, I have sitting at number 9 with 2,014 points. I have Willie B winning one more race. Actually, I do not have him winning a race. So I think I just have him winning another stage. Or I can't remember how I have it because I don't know how many points he's got right now. What, 13?
He won a stage at Homestead. He won the race. I think he's got only 6 if you're not counting regular season.
I may have him way wrong then. I may have somewhere your reason looked at him wrong and gave him somebody else's points. Right now I have him at 14, which will probably be wrong. I don't know why I have him written down at 13. So
because you stupid.
We'll see. Yeah, I might just be stupid, but that's where I have him right now, about 9th, right through there with about 13, 14 playoff points. So with that said, next 8.
Number 8,
next 4.
Number 8, I got Ryan Blaney, 2014 playoff points, would be 14 above the cut. Coming in at number 7, I got William Byron, 2019, so it'd be plus. Wait, I just completely did my math wrong. Blaney is +9 above the cut. Byron is +14 at 2019. Number 6 is Joey Logano at 2020, so he'd be 15 points above the cut. And coming in at number 5 is going to be Kyle Busch with 2022 playoff points +17. I think Kyle Busch wins another race. I have Logano winning another race. I think Byron, he'll win another race. And Blaney, I think he'll win more stages, but I don't have him winning a race.
I got you. Mine's not too far off. Number 8, I have Alex Bowman with 15 playoff points. Bowman, I think I have winning another race. I do. I believe I have him winning Michigan. I guess that Auto Club victory sticks into my mind just for the 2-mile tracks. I believe I don't have any more stages for him, I don't believe. So 15 playoff points for Bowman. 7th, I have Joey Logano. I can't remember. I think I have him winning another race. I do not. So that's another guy that could throw a kink in these things. Penske's a team that could win at any point. But right now we don't have any Penske cars, or at least Logano and Keselowski winning. Ryan Blaney, I have 6th in points with 2,017 points. I do have him winning the season finale at Daytona. I just have a feeling he could win somewhere, but I just don't feel confident him winning at the other tracks. And Daytona's obviously opened up a can of worms. And then me and you both agree on Kyle Busch. I have him 5th with 17 points. I actually have him right now, and it could change, but right now I have him as my pick for Nashville. It feels like a natural kind of thing for me to pick him at Nashville. That's where I see him winning. So Now we get to it. The top four. Obviously, your four favorites. Realistically, looking at them, it wouldn't even surprise me if these are the four guys we see at Phoenix battling for the title. Obviously, we'll make actual playoff predictions when it's playoff time. But top four, the favorites, who do you have having the biggest advantage, and how big of an advantage are they going to have?
Before I continue, I'm just going to say my number one is going to be very top heavy. Very top heavy. Number four, I got the defending champ, Chase Elliott, with 2022. Again, tied with Kyle Busch. I think he's going to get the tiebreaker over Kyle Busch because of where he's at in the regular season. With, again, 17 above the cut. Number three, I got Martin Truex Jr. with 2025 playoff points, plus 20 above the cut. I do have Chase and Truex winning another race. I think I have Chase winning two more. Coming in number two, I got Denny Hamlin with 2027 playoff points, plus 22 above the cut. I got Hamlin winning two more races. And number one, the definition of top heavy, because this guy's winning. I don't even have it because of wins. I may just have it because I think he's going to win stages up the ass. Kyle Larson with not 20, not 30, not even in the 40s, 2,058 playoff points. He's going to be 53 points above the cut. I have him winning two more races. I think he's going to get the regular season title for the one reason. I think he's just going to win so many stages. He's just going to overlap Hamlin because of it. All right, dude's already got 11 on the season. I think I do think he could get to 20.
So number four to me, and let me check some math real quick. I think I've got everything done. Number four for me is going to be Martin Truex Jr. at 2,026 points. Heading in, tied with number three, Denny Hamlin at 2026. I have Chase Elliott in second with 2028 because I think right now Hendrick has so much speed. I think Chase is marching right now. I believe right now he's only at he's less than 10 points behind Hamlin and Truex, I think right now. Like he's right around them, and I think that speed could carry him past them. I think Hamlin's slowly kind of going down and Chase is slowly peaking. Truex could be really the wild card. I think it's really up to him or Chase for finishing second in points. But I have Chase finishing second in the regular season. And then you thought you were top heavy. I have Kyle Larson at number one at not 30, not 40, not 50, 63 playoff points.
Jesus.
Listen. So he's got 36 playoff points. He's going to get a 15-point bonus. And then I have him winning three more races. I have him winning 7 more stages.
I have winning 7 more stages, but only 2 races.
And I have him winning Pocono, number one. I have him winning Atlanta, and I have him winning Indianapolis road course. I have him winning one of the road courses.
I have him winning.
It's still hard for me to not pick him to win Michigan. It's hard for me to not pick him to win almost any one of these damn places. Nashville is going to be fast. But I have Larson with 63 playoff points. He would begin the postseason 58 points above the cutoff line, almost an entire race worth of points above the cut. Unless something drastic happens with that team, and we have seen it, and this is something that we could discuss for a second. It seems like whenever NBC takes over, something wild always happens. We have some really good races to start off. Maybe the tides start to turn. Maybe Gibbs starts to come back. Maybe a guy like Kevin Harvick finally gets it together in the victory lane. It seems like we always get a storyline at this point in the year for the back half of the summer. I think it could be really, really intriguing to see what happens. But as of right now, I just don't know if anybody's going to stop Kyle Larson. 63 playoff points. And just to show the magnitude, that would put him alone 45 points ahead of Chase Elliott in second. So it could get drastic really, really quick. I mean, if Kyle Larson does what I think he could do, he could literally almost cakewalk through the first 2 rounds. Now, we showed Kevin Harvick that it means nothing. You can't just sit there and ride the coattails and say you're going to make it, because we thought the same thing about Kevin Harvick. But I think this would be would be the largest margin in playoff history if this were to happen. He has the chance to be dangerous. And so we'll see. You thought you had a lot, and I thought that by like 10 points.
Like you said, we've seen it with Kevin Harvick. It doesn't matter how many playoff points you got. You got to be on point the entire – I mean, we even saw in 2017 when Larson only won 4 races in the regular season, and we thought he was going to cakewalk to Homestead. He was out in round 2.
Hey, you remember this. The finales at Phoenix. I mean, Hendrick still runs well. Obviously, we saw what Chase did, but When thinking back to Phoenix, I don't remember who won Phoenix earlier this year, but I don't remember it being a cakewalk. Right. I mean, it wasn't like Hendrick went up there and just dominated the race. Even Chase, who everyone was predicting to win because how much he smacked the field in November, I don't think he was even close to winning the race. I mean, now obviously Hendrick is better now than they were then. If they were going this weekend, it'd be hard not to pick a Hendrick car, but I don't think it's necessarily a shoe-in that a Hendrick car goes out and just dominates Phoenix and wins.
And I think we got to see also that Larson even tends to have like a very, even in his 2017 season, he was up and down, up and down. I think between his two Michigan races, like he had like an up and down. So
he has always struggled. Larson has always been very inconsistent. We've talked how many times again he has struggled to finish off races. It feels like he's starting to get away from that. Obviously, the last 2 weeks has been the two most dominating performances in his entire career. So I honestly think the choking side of Larson is starting to fade away at this point. The next real test is the playoffs. I mean, really, I don't care what he does now into the playoffs. The playoffs is where we're going to see what he's made of. Can he put together – I mean, you don't have to put together 10 races. Can you put together 6 or 7 solid races in the final 2.5 months of the season and make a run for a championship? He's arguably the favorite right now. I think he's past Denny Hamlin as being – I mean, he is the favorite at this point. Denny Hamlin is almost sort of becoming an afterthought. He's kind of on a downtrend. I'm sure that'll kick back up eventually. But that's, I think, Larson's next test. That's the ultimate. Can you close the deal out? Can you put a seat? And we don't even mean, me and you know, it's not about him actually winning the championship. Can he go out and still be in the round of 8, and 2, at least give up a fight? You don't have to make necessarily the final 4. Like if something happens and you have a kind of an excuse, people are going to let that pass. But you get knocked out in the first or second round, I mean, you still have that moniker of being kind of a choke artist. It took a couple of years for a guy like Chase Elliott to knock that off to where people don't think, we've heard all these things about Chase this, Chase that. Chase has thrown that in the trash now. You can't say it anymore. When you win 12 races in a championship, you really can't call anybody a choke artist anymore. Kyle Larson is that next this is the next step. And he put together a postseason. And we got 10 or 11 more weeks to wait and see before that challenge starts.
I'm excited to see. Like you said, it's really because now we're going to see where most of these new tracks come up also. Now we're really going to see, like I said, Nashville, Road America, the Indy Road Course. I believe there's another one out there also. So
the remaining 10 races are Nashville, Pocono, Road America, Atlanta, New Hampshire, Watkins Glen, Indy Road Course, Michigan, and Daytona. Fairly solid lineup. I mean, you can argue Poconos, but at least the doubleheader makes that a unique weekend. Nashville's probably going to be a bland race, but at least we're at a new facility. It's always fun to see us go back somewhere new, at least especially with the Cup Series. Road America, I have circled. Watkins Glen, we haven't been there. Hold it. We went to Watkins Glen last year, didn't we?
No, we didn't. We went to Daytona Road Course.
You see, that's something that's another special. I think part of what made Sonoma special, and Sonoma had moments where it felt like old school Sonoma. And I think it was because we hadn't been there in 2 years. People forget we didn't run Sonoma last year. So I think that was part of it is these drivers hadn't been there and they didn't have practice. They didn't have qualifying. They didn't have this and that. They hadn't been there in 2 years and you got to go figure it out. Stage 2 was freaking awesome of the race on Sunday. People complained, was it the best race ever? No, but I've dang sure seen worse races. And even at the end, I mean, we had a couple late race restarts that kind of made things exciting. The second stage, though, was awesome. Now, I was old school Sonoma. People beating and banging and going off track and running over here and somebody getting smacked in the grandstands. I mean, it was awesome. So that was really, really cool. And I think we're going to be in for some really good road course racing. Especially, I can't wait for Road America. I think that's going to be awesome. That's a group of fans that have really deserved to be there and to have that race, have the Cup Series there. So I think that's going to be awesome. Pace laps are going to take about an hour and a half. But,
facts.
Other than that, I think it'll be a really, really good race. I think it's always fun to see these guys tackle a new road course. Indy road course, I think, is going to be a joke. I'm sure it'll be a good race. But if you're going to be at Indy, at least just run the damn oval. As much as I hate the oval, I don't think we should be there at all. To me, we'll save that rant for when we get closer to time for Indy. But I think we're just making ourselves look funny by running the road course at Indy. But there we have it. Look, 30 minutes wasn't bad. We got the grids. I'll be right. You'll be wrong. I mean, Daniel Suarez is not making the playoffs.
If Suarez makes the playoff, we do another bet.
We're not doing another bet.
We need to do another bet.
What's the bet then?
I don't know. You tell me.
You want to claim the bet? You got to come up with it. I'm coming up with all the other ones. Suarez is not making the playoffs.
And the Panthers aren't beating the Colts in the season.
Well, we'll see. Mine's more practical than yours.
You think
a team with like a 24th place average finish is going to make the postseason?
You think okay. You think that the Panthers, who've been 5-11 for the past 2 years, are going to do better than the 11-5 Colts over Suarez?
I think the Panthers have an equivalent offense and a better defense. Could realistically have the same, if not better, record.
Hey, here's what I say about that. Cap.
All right, yeah, I bet. Who y'all have?
Wait to get free tickets to Bristol next year.
Carson Wentz couldn't even win a Super Bowl with a Super Bowl team.
You guys just pay money for Teddy Bridgewater. You're like, okay, I don't want him anymore. Let me get Sam Darnold.
Daniel Suarez, who has 2 top 10s on the entire year, with a 19.3 average finish.
You and I both know Suarez have way more than 2 top 10s.
Listen, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Paul Menard should have been a Cup champion. Is he?
Okay, now that's pure cap.
I mean, we could talk about everything that woulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I mean?
We're going to talk about when I get free tickets to Bristol Dirt next year.
Yeah, we will see if that happens because it's not.
It will.
Suarez isn't making the postseason, dog.
And the Panthers ain't doing better than the Colts.
All right, I'm getting out of here. This dude's telling lies. He's speaking on himself. He's capping. We can't just be having that. Other than that, we will see y'all next week. I'll be a first-time announcer by then, hopefully, if weather holds off. So we'll see how that goes. You may never hear from me again. Maybe my early retirement. So everybody, I can't even really say enjoy the All-Star race. Try not to laugh at the All-Star race is really my only kind of recommendation here. It's going to be a busy-ass weekend for me between working my actual job, working at a couple racetracks, cutting grass. Whew, it's going to be a long one. But we'll see y'all next time.